I feel truly happy when I walk the streets. And you can achieve this as well. Because in this video, we're gonna dive into how you get the outcome called happiness. We're gonna dive into a couple of topics that will help you live a workable life that in the end you will actually like. The topics are pleasure versus happiness, the outcome called happiness, and creating a life that matters. Pleasure versus happiness. Well, those are two different things. Not just by definition of the word, but also on how they exist in your life. Because in your head, there is also always a cocktail of certain neurotransmitters going on that create a certain outcome. These neurotransmitters create dopamine or serotonin based on how you live your life and what you do. Dopamine is bounded to pleasure, serotonin is bounded to happiness. You need both in your life, but that's just the basics of it. If we're gonna dive really deep into that, this is gonna be a video of 1 hour and I need to do way more research. So that's not what we're gonna do. I'm trying to keep it stupid simple here. The important difference between serotonin and dopamine is that dopamine gives you a certain boost, it's your natural reward system, but it also takes. Where serotonin never takes, it will never cost you something. Pleasure, based on dopamine, is really addictive. Serotonin is not. What you see right now is that people are consistently on their phone, consistently seeking pleasure, consistently filling up their dopamine system, making them addictive, searching for that one small hit, but in the end, they feel empty. Why? Because they're seeking pleasure and not happiness. They're not seeking serotonin. Look, think back on your times in school, like when you had a school camp and you stayed up late and you eat chips and candy and was social with everybody there. But at the end of that school camp, you were just drained. Why? You used up all your dopamine. So you need to recharge. There are just 7 big differences between happiness and pleasure. Happiness is based on serotonin, just like I said, and pleasure is based on dopamine. Happiness, you just have it in your head. It's a state of being. Well, pleasure, you feel it in your body. You feel some kind of excitement. Happiness is based on giving. It's based on giving back. It's based on helping others. It's based on giving. While pleasure is always based on taking, based on consuming, based on something that will cost you something. Because after a pleasurable moment, you will have the downfall of that pleasurable moment. So it always comes at a cost to seek pleasure. Happiness is social. It's with people. It's with others. Well, pleasure can also be alone when you're in your room watching porn or something like that. Or you can watch porn with a whole group, but I think that would be really fucking weird if you do that. But that's the thing. Pleasure, you seek it alone. It's not a social thing. It's for you. Well, it costs you energy. Happiness comes by nature, and pleasure, you can also get it by just consuming things, by external things, like drugs, like video games, like drinking. Well, happiness cannot be achieved by those things. Happiness is the thing that will come by nature through longevity. While pleasure, you can just seek out of other things, from behavior or resources. And then last but not least, happiness is not addictive. You can never be too happy. Well, pleasure is. When you're consistently seeking for that little spark, that little reward, and you want more and more and more and more and more. That's called addiction, man. And pleasure is addictive. You got sex addicts, you got drug addicts, you got alcohol addicts, you got gaming addicts. Why? They're consistently seeking for pleasure, but do they actually live a happy life? The outcome called happiness. So the more pleasure you seek, the more unhappy you get. You know, it's just, you cannot control your emotions. You have them, you just have your emotions. And happiness in that way is also a contradiction, because you cannot feel happy if you never feel sad. You can never feel sad if you're never angry. You need all of the spectrum of life to feel a certain way, to be a certain way. I can be really angry but still live a happy life. But being angry is just a part of life. When you're always seeking for happiness, you're just seeking for pleasure. And like I said, the more pleasure you seek, the more unhappy you will get, because pleasure is just a short-term thing. Life has just all kinds of ups and downs, and that's just the way it is. I mean, when I was broke, when I lived on the crackers for 2 months, I just pushed through it. But in that certain moment, I still had nice people around me, and I still liked what I was doing. So in a way, even though I did not have that much, I still lived a happy life. Maybe a bit stressful, but happy. If you can just accept that going through the hard times is also a part of life, and that you just need to keep on going. If you're gonna accept that you have pleasurable moments in your life, but know that the fundament needs to be based on creating a happy and good, healthy life, I think you're good that way. At least it works for me, and I feel great, so why wouldn't it work for you? Well, create a life that matters. I always say to people, I have 4 focus points in life. 1 is my relations. I can have a good relationship with my parents, I can have a good relationship with my friends. Just, do I have good relations? 2 is health. Are you healthy? Are you mentally stable? Are you physically healthy? Do you work out? Do you eat well? Do you sleep well? If you have that in order, happiness will be a bigger part of your life. 3, the impact that you're making. What kind of impact are you making? What kind of service do you provide? How are you beneficial to others at the moment? How do you give? What do you give? What's the impact that you leave behind? What's the legacy that you leave behind? If you have a certain type of legacy, or if you can help people in a way, that also can lead to the outcome of happiness. And last but not least, wealth. Are you wealthy? And wealth does not mean having millions in the bank or having a Rolex on your poles or whatsoever. No. Wealth means, are you financially stable? Are you having peace of mind when it comes to the financials? Can you live comfortable without having a big headache? If you focus on those 4 points, I would call them the key creators of life. Creating a life that matters comes from those 4 key creators. Happiness will be an outcome, because happiness can never be a goal. And if you don't have any of those points at the right stage right now, then get your shit together and do the work. So stop seeking pleasure and actually create a life that matters by doing the fucking work. You are the creator of your own life, so it's your responsibility if your life is shit right now. And if your life is shit, please stop seeking for pleasure and actually do something about it. Well, it's just my humble opinion. Like I said, it worked for me. It turned out great. I did some research behind this topic, so I'm not just only talking nonsense. It actually works. And I say this as a fucking 22-year-old. Why do some 30 years old, 50-year-old, 45-year-old, does not matter, do not figure this out? Because it's not that hard. You just need to stop seeking for pleasure consistently and do the work to create a life that matters. Well, visionaries, I believe in you. I believe that you can do this. And let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, and share this video with the one who needs it the most, so I can provide my service and work on impact in this way. And you work on your impact in that way as well, because you're actually being beneficial to someone's life. Alright, ciao.